My dear friend, I have spent countless hours in the quietude of my Oxford study, wrestling with the profound mysteries of human suffering and divine providence, and I have come to understand something extraordinary about the relationship between our deepest trials and our capacity for receiving God's abundant provision. There exists a peculiar alchemy in the human spirit, whereby the very fires that seem to consume us actually prepare us to receive blessings we could never have imagined in our seasons of ease and comfort. You know that feeling, do you not? That bone-deep weariness that comes not from a single disappointment, but from the accumulation of years spent struggling against financial currents that seem determined to sweep you downstream, no matter how fiercely you paddle against them. Perhaps you have applied for countless positions, started businesses that crumbled despite your best efforts, or watched others seemingly effortlessly achieve the financial stability that remains tantalizingly beyond your reach. You have endured the peculiar humiliation of having to decline invitations because your wallet cannot support your heart's desire to participate in the simple joys of friendship and community. I understand this suffering intimately, for I too have walked through seasons where my academic pursuits seemed to promise nothing but intellectual satisfaction, while my bank account reminded me daily of my earthly limitations. The weight of financial pressure has a way of seeping into every corner of our existence, coloring our prayers with desperation, our dreams with doubt, and our relationships with the subtle poison of shame. We begin to wonder if perhaps God has forgotten us, or worse, if our struggles indicate some fundamental unworthiness that disqualifies us from His provision. But what if I told you that your endurance through these trials has not been in vain? What if the very capacity to bear suffering, to continue hoping when hope seems foolish, to persist in faith when circumstances mock your beliefs, has been preparing you for a financial breakthrough that is both practical and profoundly spiritual? The God who allowed you to walk through this valley of financial shadows was not absent or cruel, but rather crafting within you a strength and wisdom that can only be forged in the furnace of genuine hardship. The breakthrough I speak of is not the shallow prosperity gospel that promises easy wealth to those who simply think positive thoughts or plant financial seeds with the right ministries. No, what I have discovered through both scripture and the hard-earned wisdom of lived experience is that true financial transformation comes to those who have been stripped of their illusions about money, success, and security, and who have learned to seek first the kingdom of heaven with the understanding that all other things will indeed be added unto them. If you recognize yourself in these words, if you feel that stirring of hope mixed with the caution that comes from having hoped too many times before, then I invite you to comment below with simply the word ready. Let us know that you are prepared to explore a different path to financial breakthrough, one that honors both the practical realities of money and the eternal truths that govern all true abundance. This simple act of declaring your readiness creates a sacred moment of intention that opens your heart to receive what I am about to share. Your willingness to endure has created within you a profound gift that most people never develop, the ability to distinguish between what is essential and what is merely desirable, between what brings lasting satisfaction and what offers only temporary pleasure. When you have struggled to pay for necessities, you learn the true value of money in ways that those who have never known want simply cannot comprehend. This hard-won wisdom becomes the foundation upon which genuine wealth, rather than mere accumulation, can be built. Consider how your trials have deepened your capacity for gratitude. When every dollar earned requires effort, and every purchase demands careful consideration, you develop an appreciation for abundance that the casually wealthy never experience. This gratitude is not merely a pleasant emotional state, but rather a spiritual frequency that aligns your heart with the generous nature of God Himself. Gratitude opens channels of receiving that cannot be accessed through any amount of striving or manipulation. Your suffering has also taught you persistence in ways that success never could. Each time you have gotten back up after a financial setback, each time you have found a way to make ends meet when it seemed impossible, each time you have maintained your integrity when compromise would have been easier, you have been building spiritual muscle that will serve you powerfully when true opportunity arrives. The person who has never been tested has no idea of their actual strength, but you have proven your resilience through fire. Perhaps most importantly, your trials have likely stripped away many of the ego-driven motivations that often sabotage people's relationship with money. When you have genuinely struggled, the desire to impress others with your wealth diminishes, replaced by a deeper longing for security, generosity, and the ability to be a blessing to others who are walking the path you have traveled. This purification of motivation is essential for handling increased financial resources in ways that honor God and serve your highest good. The breakthrough that awaits you is built upon these foundations of wisdom, gratitude, persistence, and purified motivation. But there is something more, something that connects your personal transformation to the eternal principles that govern all true abundance. You see, God's economy operates on laws that are often opposite to worldly wisdom. In his kingdom the last shall be first, the meek shall inherit the earth, and those who have learned to be faithful with little will be entrusted with much. Your season of financial difficulty has been, in many ways, a period of preparation and testing. Not testing in the sense of a harsh God looking for reasons to withhold his blessings, but testing in the sense of developing within you the character and wisdom necessary to handle greater responsibility. Money, after all, is simply stored human energy and potential. The person who has learned to steward little with wisdom, integrity and generosity demonstrates their readiness to steward much in the same manner. The principles I want to share with you about financial breakthrough are rooted in this understanding of divine economy and human character development. They require no special talent, no advanced education, no family connections or startup capital. They do require the very qualities that your trials have been developing within you. Faith that can see beyond current circumstances, persistence that continues when others would quit, wisdom that distinguishes between opportunity and distraction, and a heart that seeks to honor God with every aspect of life, including your finances. At this point in our conversation together, I want to pause and ask you something that may seem unusual but is deeply important to me. How long has it been since someone truly listened to your financial struggles without trying to immediately offer advice, judgment, or easy solutions? When did you last feel heard and understood in your desire for both practical financial improvement and spiritual alignment with God's will for your life? I ask because I have learned that healing and transformation often begin not with new information, but with the simple recognition that our experiences matter and our struggles have meaning. If you are willing to share, I would love for you to comment below with a brief description of your current financial challenge and what you hope will change. You might write something like, "I have been struggling with debt for 5 years, and I hope to find a path to freedom that honors God," or "I have a good income but somehow never seem to get ahead, and I want to understand why." Your willingness to be honest about your situation, even in this anonymous space, serves two important purposes. First, it helps you clarify your own desires and intentions, which is essential for any real change to take place. Second, it contributes to a community of people who understand that faith and finances are not separate issues, but rather intertwined aspects of a life lived in alignment with divine purpose. When you share your story, you give permission for others to do the same, creating a space where real transformation becomes possible. I also want you to know that every comment is read and valued, not just by me, but by others who are walking similar paths. Your honesty about your struggles may be exactly what someone else needs to hear, to feel less alone in their own journey. In this way, your willingness to be vulnerable becomes a gift to the entire community gathered here. Now, having acknowledged the reality of where you are, let us explore where you can go from here. The financial breakthrough that your endurance has prepared you for operates on several levels simultaneously. On the practical level, it involves learning to see and seize opportunities that have always been present but were invisible to you, while you remained focused on your limitations and fears. On the spiritual level, it involves aligning your financial goals and methods with the eternal principles that govern all true abundance. The first principle is what I call the law of prepared readiness. Your trials have prepared you to recognize and respond to opportunities that you would have missed or mishandled in easier times. The person who has never known financial pressure often lacks the urgency and focus necessary to take decisive action when opportunity presents itself. They may be paralyzed by too many options or too comfortable to risk change. But you, having been refined by difficulty, possess a clarity of purpose and willingness to act that gives you tremendous advantage when the right opportunity appears. This prepared readiness also manifests in your ability to start small and build incrementally. Many people wait for the perfect opportunity, the large investment, the dramatic change that will solve all their problems at once. But your experience with scarcity has taught you the power of small, consistent progress. You understand that a dollar saved today becomes multiple dollars over time, that a skill developed gradually becomes a marketable asset, that relationships built slowly create lasting opportunities for mutual benefit. The second principle involves what I term the multiplication of faithfulness. Scripture tells us that whoever is faithful with little will be entrusted with much, and your period of financial struggle has been a time of learning to be faithful with little. Every time you have honored your commitments despite financial pressure, every time you have been generous with others despite your own needs, every time you have refused to compromise your integrity for financial gain, you have been demonstrating the kind of character that attracts greater responsibility and opportunity. This faithfulness extends beyond money to encompass your entire approach to life. The person who is faithful with their word, their time, their relationships and their spiritual practices creates an environment of trust and reliability that naturally attracts abundance. People want to do business with those they trust, to invest in those who prove reliable, to recommend those who consistently deliver what they promise. The third principle is the alchemy of grateful receiving. Your struggles have taught you to appreciate blessings that others take for granted, and this appreciation creates a powerful magnetic force for continued abundance. When you can genuinely celebrate small improvements, when you can find joy in simple provisions, when you can recognize God's hand in everyday blessings, you create a frequency of gratitude that attracts more to be grateful for. This is not merely positive thinking, or the law of attraction repackaged in spiritual language. This is recognition of a fundamental spiritual principle, that God delights in blessing those who receive his gifts with joy and appreciation. The grateful heart is an open heart, and the open heart has unlimited capacity for receiving the good things that God desires to pour into our lives. As you begin to apply these principles, you will notice that opportunities seem to appear with increasing frequency. A conversation with a neighbor reveals a need you can meet for payment. A skill you develop during your struggles becomes relevant to a new industry or market. A connection you made while helping others in their time of need remembers you when they have something to offer. What seems like coincidence is actually the natural result of a life aligned with divine principles and prepared by trial to recognize and receive blessing. The transformation I am describing is not merely external, but fundamentally internal. As your financial situation improves, you will find that your relationship with money itself has been transformed by your journey through difficulty. Money becomes a tool for blessing, rather than a source of anxiety, a means of service rather than an end in itself, a resource to be stewarded wisely, rather than a measure of personal worth. This transformation reveals itself in unexpected ways. You may find yourself naturally drawn to investments and opportunities that align with your values rather than chasing quick profits that compromise your integrity. You develop an intuitive sense of when to hold and when to spend, when to save, and when to give generously. Your financial decisions begin to flow from a place of wisdom rather than fear, abundance rather than scarcity, purpose rather than mere survival. The person who has learnt contentment in want discovers that this same contentment allows them to handle wealth without being corrupted by it. They understand that their worth is not determined by their net worth, that their security comes from God rather than their bank account, that their purpose transcends their possessions. This inner freedom becomes the foundation for using increased resources in ways that multiply blessing rather than merely accumulating assets. This internal transformation is perhaps the most valuable aspect of the breakthrough that awaits you. Those who receive wealth without having first learned to handle want often find that money amplifies their existing character weaknesses rather than solving their problems. But you, having been refined by struggle and guided by principle, will find that increased resources become a platform for greater service, deeper generosity, and more profound impact in the lives of others. There is a fourth principle that emerges from this understanding, one that I call the law of redemptive purpose. Your struggles have not only prepared you to receive abundance, but have also clarified your understanding of why abundance matters. Those who have never known genuine need often accumulate wealth for its own sake, or for the status and security it provides. But those who have walked through the valley of financial shadow understand that resources are meant to serve purposes greater than themselves. You have seen firsthand how financial pressure affects families, how lack of resources limits opportunities, how economic anxiety steals peace and joy from daily life. This intimate knowledge of financial pain creates within you a redemptive purpose that transforms wealth from a personal achievement into a tool for healing and restoration. When your breakthrough comes, and it will come, you will find yourself naturally drawn to use your resources in ways that address the very problems you have experienced. This redemptive purpose becomes a powerful force for continued abundance because it aligns your personal goals with divine intentions for blessing and restoration in the world. The person who seeks wealth primarily for personal comfort may receive temporary prosperity, but the person who seeks resources to serve redemptive purposes taps into the eternal flow of divine provision that never runs dry. The method I have developed for facilitating this breakthrough combines practical financial wisdom with spiritual principles and psychological insights that honor the complexity of human nature and the sovereignty of divine providence. It recognizes that true financial transformation must address not only external behaviors but internal beliefs, not only current circumstances but historical wounds, not only individual choices but relational dynamics. This approach understands that your struggles have roots that extend deeper than mere lack of opportunity or financial education. They often connect to childhood experiences of scarcity, family patterns of financial dysfunction, cultural messages about money and worth, and spiritual confusion about the relationship between faith and material provision. Addressing these deeper roots while simultaneously implementing practical strategies creates the foundation for breakthrough that is both sustainable and spiritually aligned. The methodology involves what I call the 3 pillars of transformation: spiritual alignment, practical wisdom, and relational health. Spiritual alignment ensures that your financial goals and methods honor God and serve His purposes in your life and through your life to others. Practical wisdom applies time-tested principles of financial stewardship, investment, and wealth building that have proven effective across cultures and generations. Relational health addresses the ways that money affects and is affected by your relationships with family, friends, colleagues, and community. Each pillar supports the others in a dynamic interplay that creates stability and sustainability in your transformation. Spiritual alignment without practical wisdom leads to well-intentioned poverty. Practical wisdom without spiritual alignment leads to successful but ultimately empty accumulation. Relational health without the other 2 leads to financial codependency and manipulation. But when all 3 pillars are developed together, they create an unshakable foundation for abundance that serves both temporal and eternal purposes. The journey toward this breakthrough requires patience with the process and trust in the timing. Just as your period of struggle served important purposes in your development, the path to abundance unfolds according to divine wisdom that sees the end from the beginning. Your part is to remain faithful to the principles, responsive to the opportunities, and grateful for the progress, trusting that the God who has brought you this far will complete the good work He has begun in your life. I want to leave you with this encouragement: your willingness to endure when endurance seemed impossible has qualified you for blessings that cannot be lost, stolen, or diminished by external circumstances. The wealth that comes through spiritual alignment and character development becomes part of who you are, rather than merely what you possess. This is the true security that your heart has been longing for through all your struggles. Your journey has not been wasted. Your pain has not been pointless. Your persistence has not been in vain. All of it has been preparing you for this moment when you can receive not just temporary relief but lasting transformation. The breakthrough that awaits you is proportionate to the depth of your preparation, and you have been prepared through fire for something beautiful and abundant. As we conclude our time together today, I want to offer you an invitation that extends beyond this single conversation. This community of seekers who understand that faith and finances intersect in profound ways continues to grow and support one another in practical and spiritual transformation. When you subscribe to this channel and engage with these teachings regularly, you become part of a family that celebrates each other's victories, offers encouragement during setbacks, and shares wisdom gained through experience. The value I offer to subscribers goes beyond information to include ongoing support, additional resources, and access to a community of like-minded individuals who are walking similar paths. Together we explore not just how to improve our financial situations, but how to align our entire lives with the purposes and principles that bring lasting fulfillment and serve the greater good. If this message has stirred something in your heart, if you sense that your time of breakthrough may be at hand, I encourage you to take the simple but important step of subscribing and liking this video. These actions help this message reach others who need to hear it, but more importantly, they represent your commitment to continue learning and growing in wisdom that transforms both your circumstances and your character. Remember that transformation is rarely a single dramatic event, but rather a series of small, consistent choices aligned with eternal principles. Your breakthrough may come gradually as you apply these insights day by day, or it may arrive suddenly as the culmination of all your preparation meets divine opportunity. Either way, your role remains the same: to stay faithful, stay grateful, stay open to possibility, and trust that the God who has sustained you through your trials is even now preparing to astound you with His provision.